Welcome back. This is Mr. White. Today's podcast will be on physical geography of Asia. And for this particular segment, we're going to divide Asia into the South region, Southeast region, and East Asia. Okay. When we talk about physical geography, guys, we're talking about the physical land features. Physical geography, physical land features. Okay. We're talking about what the land looks like itself. When we talked about the physical land features, one of the first places I would like to start was mountains. Mountains are very important in Asia because they influence a couple of different things. They influence the population patterns. That means where people move within a given area, okay, where they settle, where the land is the best to grow food and to live. B, movement of people and goods. Sometimes mountains can stop people from moving around because they're so high. It's difficult to build roads and railroad tracks across the mountains. It just makes it very difficult to move around in a particular area if the mountains are real high. Mountains also affect the climate and the weather of a particular area. In certain places in the world, the mountains are so high that they stop the clouds that have rain in them from moving across a given area. And this stops precipitation from falling, And if you don't have rain, it's difficult to grow food. Also, in the upper elevations, real high in the mountains, snow remains there year-round, thus making it a difficult place to live. The most important mountain range in Asia is the Himalayan mountains, and they are found in southwestern Asia. They separate the country of India from China. The Himalayas block the clouds that are formed by the monsoons, and thus these monsoon clouds have a lot of rain, and it stops it from entering western China. So western China is very dry. There is a desert called the Gobi Desert in western China that's formed because of this. The Himalayas also isolate Tibet and make transportation very difficult to get in and out of Tibet. If we look at this population density map, we can see here by looking at the colors, you see the dark green areas right here is where a lot of the people have settled in Asia. Notice out here in the west, these white areas, they're uninhabited because it's extremely dry and it can get extremely cold in this area. And this is caused by the Himalayan mountains stopping the rain from moving in this direction. Here's a picture of Mount Everest in the Himalayan chain. It is the tallest mountain in the world at over 28,000 square feet. Not square feet, just over 28,000 feet high. Mountains, some other mountains that are found in Asia are the Hindu Kush Mountains, the Eastern and Western Ghats in India, the Tian Shan Mountains, and Mount Fuji in Japan. Mount Fuji is the tallest mountain in Japan at 12,388 feet. The mountain is located on the island of Honshu and is considered sacred by the religion of Shinto. I have a picture here of exactly where Mount Fuji is located. As you can see here, it's about 250 miles southwest of Tokyo. Here's a picture of Mount Fuji. Notice the white cap. This means it's a higher elevation and snow remains on it all year round. It would be difficult to live up in this area. Plateaus and uplands. Most of western China is on a plateau called the Plateau of Tibet. Farther north is the Mongolian Plateau. The Korean Peninsula and the Japanese islands are mountainous. So some areas of Asia are flat, desertous, and have plateaus, and a lot of Asia has mountains. Many rivers in Asia start in the Himalayan mountains. The rivers erode away the bits of the mountains and carry the sediment, the little pieces of dirt, down to the flat plains at the base of the mountains. This sediment makes for very good soil, and it's a very good place to farm. Much of the agriculture in Asia is watered and fed by the soil that runs off from the Himalayan mountains. The most important rivers in South Asia that we're going to really be discussing in depth are the Indus River, the Ganges River, and the Brahmaputra River. The Ganges and Brahmaputra start in the Himalayas and flow into the Bay of Bengal. Both rivers flow through Bangladesh, and as a result, this country often floods during the monsoon season. And as we study in our vocabulary words, we know that monsoon season is a period of intense rain where it rains a whole lot every day. As you see in this map, there's a map of the Ganges starting in the Himalayas right here. It's the source, and it runs southward all the way out into the Bay of Bengal here. And the same with the Brahmaputra. It starts also in the Himalayas right here. It also continues in a southerly direction before it empties out into the Bay of Bengal. Notice this area here, very rich soil, as deltas are formed right here at the mouth of each river. The Ganges deposits sediment on a flat area called the Indo-Gangetic Plain. This river is important to India because it provides water for agriculture, as we discussed earlier, very fertile soil, provides water for factories and industries, provides water for human use, to drink, to bathe, and it is considered sacred by Hindus, which is a religion in Asia. The Hindus build temples on the bank of the Ganges River. In one city, Varanasi, is considered sacred by Hindus and a focal point of pilgrimage. We discussed another religion which makes a pilgrimage, Islam, and they make their pilgrimage to Mecca, while the Hindus make their pilgrimage to Varanasi. Hindus often pray in the water, and when they die, many are cremated and their ashes are cast into the river. Here is a picture of Varanasi on the Ganges River. Very sacred place in the Hindu religion. The Ganges River is also has become one of the most polluted rivers in the world due to a couple different factors. One, pesticides and fertilizers that spill into the river from the agriculture that takes place around the river. Chemicals and metals from factories. Raw sewage, that means human waste that's placed in the river, and human use. The rivers in China. China has 3 major rivers that begin in the Himalayas. Once again, the sources of the rivers in Asia, many begin in the Himalayan mountains and flow into the East China or Yellow Sea. These rivers are the Yellow River, Yangtze River, and the West River. The Yangtze and Yellow River flow through an area that's flat in elevation called the North China Plain. This area has intensive farming and 2 rivers are connected by the Grand Canal. The type of dirt that's found around in this area is called loess. It is a very rich soil that is yellow in color and normally deposited by the wind. So this loess is wind blown across the North China Plain and it settles on the land and is very rich and very good for farming. Here's a picture of the Yellow River. Notice the loess and the yellow color of the banks. Even the river is tinted a different color because of the yellow soil. Notice again the Yellow River and the color from the soil deposits that are flowing in it. The Amur River starts in the Great Khingan Mountains in northern China and empties into the Sea of Japan. This river is also the border between China and Russia. Rivers in Southeast Asia. The longest river in the Southeast Asia is the Mekong River. The river starts, once again, in the Himalayas and flows through China, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam before emptying into the South China Sea. Rivers are very important. They are a source of water, and you find a lot of the agriculture that takes place in Asia around the rivers. Asia is surrounded by bodies of water. One important body of water is the Sea of Japan, located between the Korean Peninsula and Japan. In Korea, they refer to it, though, as the East Sea. The largest desert in this area is the Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert is formed by orographic precipitation. When we started this presentation, we talked about the Himalayas and how they stop the rain clouds from the monsoon from traveling into western China. And this produces a very dry area, a desert. South Asia gets rain from the monsoons, but the Himalayan mountains block the rain from entering the western China. Most of western China and Mongolia are in rain shadow. This is the area that's blocked from receiving rain. I'm going to conclude this first part of the presentation by talking about islands. A group of islands is called an archipelago. That's a term we studied at the very beginning of this year. It is simply called a group of islands. There are many archipelagos in Asia, such as Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, and the Maldives. Stay tuned and make sure you watch part 2 of the video podcast, Asia Geography Part 2.